Welcome back to part 2 of the Halloween color along. In this part of the color along, we're going to be working on her skin, and I'm super excited and super nervous for that because what I want to do with her skin is going to be pretty tricky. So we're going to be using a lot of colors for this, and that's probably why I'm so nervous. As always, the colors would be in the beginning of the video, so you have already seen the colors that we're going to be using. And boy, does it look like a lot. And I don't know what I did here, but I got something on her eye. Okay. So the last video was a lot longer than I had wanted it to be. It was almost 2 hours, and this video will probably be around the same. So we're not going to do much of an intro, we are pretty much just going to dive in. So I'm going to zoom in a little bit here. I suppose I'll try to move the book around a little bit. Stuff already. I think I'm good for the most part. So yeah, we're gonna go in with Parma Violet on this side of the face, and I should state that this is a skin combination that I got from Shine Bright Design. I will link the video that I got this skin combination from, as well as Shine Bright Design's channel. And I can't quite remember how she used these colors, but I just kind of do my own thing with them, so hopefully it'll turn out okay. So I'm just going to take Parma Violet and I'm just going to lightly blush it in, pretty much just around her face, in where I think that the shadows would be. I'll maybe add a nose to her. So, one thing I am going to do, my lightest color is the light peach, so I'm just going to take that and I'm just going to try and get a light line here to help divide her face so I know where to stop with the colors. So it's super light, you guys probably can't even see it, but I can, so as long as, if you want to do that, as long as it's super, super light, then it's good. Hi, baby. Hi. Hi. Okay, so next I'm going to, don't touch stuff please. I suppose I should first figure out where our light source is going to be.
There. Oh.
Thanks, baby. And I guess since she's got a candle glowing right here, that this is going to be where the light's coming from. So it's going to be mostly this side of her face that's shadowed. Back in here on her neck will be shadowed, and we'll bring just a slight shadow under her chin here. Maybe add some cleavage as well. A little bit of a shadow in here. And down here maybe. This side of her shoulder would be in shadow, I believe. like I've stated in previous videos, I'm not the best at shading, so I just kind of, I shouldn't really say shading, I'm not the best at placing shadows, so I just kind of wing it and go with my instinct for the most part, and usually, even if I'm a little off, it turns out looking okay. So I'm going to think that this top of her hand would be in light, so I'm going to put the shadow down her arm here, as well as this little corner here I left. I do believe that that is part of her arm, so that would be in shadow as well. And apologize for my voice there. I am still getting over this. I'm thinking it's a cold. It started off as a sore throat and then a few cold symptoms, but thankfully I am a firm believer in using herbs when I start feeling sick, so I started popping vitamin C and echinacea pretty much immediately when I started feeling like I was getting sick, so my symptoms actually aren't too bad. So places like this is where I get slightly confused, just because I feel like both parts of this arm should be in shadow. So what I usually do there is I just kind of look, and since this part's already in shadow, what I would usually do is I would just put this part in a darker shadow and then have this part in a little bit of a lighter shadow. So that is probably what I'll end up doing. And I just do that because then it still kind of differentiates the colors. It makes this arm look like it's still behind this one without looking too similar. And then again, here is another really confusing spot, but right here I believe would be in shadow. And I am going to go in and add the Parma Violet to the darker shadows as well. So we'll go in and turn them darker later on. Okay, so now looking at the picture overall, I can judge whether I like where the shadows are or not. And I think I do. So I'm going to do, I apologize for my chair, but I'm going to do is I'm going to go back in and I'm just going to put another light layer over the Parma Violet where it's closest to the lines. And I'm slightly going to go over, very, very lightly, I'm going to go over that halfway mark on her face, because I want this part of her face to be pretty much white, and then we'll use, I think, tones of gray for the shadowing. Whereas this side of her face, I want to kind of be purple, really light bluish tone, I think. For the most part, this is completely Shine Bright Designs color combination. Sorry. But I am adding Cloud Blue to it. Again, just got to very, very lightly go over that line. And I also want to add a little bit of shadow underneath her nose. and underneath her lip. So I'm not going very hard at all. I am just very lightly touching the paper. Because we want to be able to layer a lot of colors on her skin. I'm also going to run a shadow underneath her little, I don't know if these are bracelets or cuffs from her shirt, but we'll put a shadow under them. Okay, I am really liking that. This is probably my all-time favorite skin tone combination now. I just absolutely love how it turns out every time. So next we're going to be going in with Nectar, I believe. Let me see here. Yeah. So we're just going to lightly take the Nectar and just put it over the Parma Violet. And as you can see, that knocks back the purple tone to the Parma Violet and actually makes it look like more of a skin tone. I'm also going to bring the Nectar just under her eyebrows slightly here. So I want it to be a little shadowed, but not too shadowed. So some things that you can expect in the future. I am actually participating in Inktober. I thought about participating last year, but I was just too busy and I just really couldn't commit. So this year I decided that I was going to do it, and I'm following Jake Parker's prompts. If you don't know, he's the one that started Inktober. And so far so good. I haven't done my one for today yet because I wanted to make sure that I recorded this first. So my plan is to upload one of those, like an Inktober speed drawing and commentary, every Friday this month. And I'll just pick my favorite, I'll pick my favorite one to do, even if it's not the one for that Friday. But I'm thinking the 1st of November I'll probably do a sketchbook tour and just show off all of the Inktovers that I did. And Hannah Lynn wise, of course we're finishing this color along this month. And I also have the Artist Girl from Dream in Color along going on, and we will resume that back in November and hopefully finish that off before December, because in December I'd like to do a Christmas color along. As well as all of that, I still have plans to do a blending and shading kind of demo. I've had that requested a lot, although, you know, I'm not that good at blending and shading. There's definitely a lot of people that are way better at it than I am. So I'm not really sure if I'm qualified to kind of show you guys how to do that. But all I can really do is just show you how I do it, and hopefully you guys will find it easy, or just take different techniques that I use and kind of make them into your own. It's always easiest to find out what works best for you. And then I also have a Hannah Lynn member that would like me to do a tutorial on how I color the clouds and sunsets and stuff in the Hannah Lynn books. So I will definitely do a little tutorial on that as well. And for the most part, that is all I have planned for this year. Now, one thing I just noticed, I'm going to go back in with the Parma Violet. I do believe, just make sure I'm in frame here, that under these ruffles would also be shadowed, because the light would be coming down this way. And same with here, the ruffles here would also be shadowed as well. So I'll just go back over those spots with the nectar. So yeah, I have a busy plan for the rest of the year, not just with videos, but I'm also working on doing my Christmas presents, which every year I do paintings for all my family members. It's a great way to save money, as well as really practice my painting, because I really don't paint too much. So when it comes to being around Christmas time, I definitely get a lot of practice. And I've actually done a few speed paintings that I will release later on, probably in the new year. I've released one already. I just don't want to release too many, because I'm just worried that one of my family members might, you know, come onto my YouTube. And although I don't really mention who the paintings are for, I don't want them to get their hopes up that maybe somebody else's painting is theirs, or, you know, to see their painting. So that's the plan there. So anywhere that looks a little too purple, I'm just going to keep going over with the nectar. But for the most part, I think it's looking okay. Now I'm going to go in with the terracotta, and I'm just going to do the exact same thing. Just very lightly going over the areas. More so on the areas that will have darker shadows. So if you've watched any of my tutorials before, especially with doing skin tones, you might remember that I used to go over the skin with almost every single color that I was using. And you know, it's just crazy how your techniques and stuff change the more you learn, because I did that until I watched Shine Bright's tutorial with this color combination, and I absolutely just love this, and I feel like it saves me a lot of time because I don't go over every single little spot. So I think I'm happy with the terracotta. Now we'll go in with the salmon peach, or salmon pink, sorry. But at the same time, this skin tone does take quite a while. So I'm going to keep lightly going into this area where her face paint is going to start. Just because I kind of want it to look like her face paint is blended into her skin. So I'm just going to lightly go over a little ways over the line and just blend in that salmon pink. Just super, super lightly. So I'm going to bring this out a little bit from where the shadows are. What are we at for time here? Okay. My phone always cuts out in around 30 or 31 minutes, so, and I don't have my sound on right now, so it won't make a sound to let me know if it cuts out, so I gotta be very careful. I think my favorite part about coloring Hannah girls is watching them come to life. Like, even with her hair colored, she still looked like a piece of paper, but now once you start getting your shading and shading and shadowing in, she definitely starts to pop off of the page. I think I forgot to go over here with the terracotta. So we'll just do that quick. There we go. And then we will continue with our salmon pink. We're still doing super light layers. I will definitely let you know when we change our pressure. Another thing you might notice if you've seen any of my previous videos is my camera is not shaking. And actually, I think it was in the Hannah Lynn group that I was talking to somebody who mentioned maybe getting a tripod so that way I didn't have the shaking happening in the videos. And so I kind of looked into it, but most tripods are meant for like taking selfies or like taking videos upright, so it's kind of hard to find one that would just kind of sit downwards or face downwards, that you could like have sitting on your desk. Most of them you'd have to wrap around something to have it facing downwards, and that just wouldn't work for me. So actually I went on YouTube to try and find one that would face downwards and, you know, that was a decent tripod. And then I just came across this tips and hacks video that showed that this girl used a towel bar attached to her wall to set her camera on, or hook it up to, I mean. And that way it wasn't on her desk or attached to her desk at all, and therefore if she bumped her desk it didn't really bother the camera at all. So I actually have this little makeshift shelf that my husband made for me that's just right above my desk. but it doesn't touch the desk. So I can shake my desk all I want, and the only thing that's going to move is the picture. The camera's totally fine. The only downfall that I have found to this so far is that my cat jumps up on the shelf. That's how he gets up on my desk. And yes, for those who've also watched any of my videos, I did say he. We thought my cat was a girl, but he's actually a boy. So instead of Kahlua, he's now been named Stitch by my 3-year-old. So that's new. But yeah, he jumps on the shelf to get up to my desk. So when he jumps on the shelf, the camera moves like crazy. So I'll just have to keep an eye out for that, or try to keep him out of the art room while I'm filming. Okay, so I'm really, really liking that. So now we are going to go in with the peach beige. And I'm pretty much going to very lightly go over all the shadows. From about here, I'm going to start bringing it up, kind of towards her nose. So she's got this circle here for a highlight around her eye. Put a little bit up on her nose here. I'm going to save this white as a highlight for now. One thing I noticed with watching videos, and even like since I've started somewhat following videos to kind of what's the word I'm looking for, to improve on my techniques and methods and such. Even if I'm trying to follow along exactly, I always feel like my image looks a lot grainier than the artist that I'm following. And, you know, I didn't really realize it till right now, but if I look at this picture with my eyes, I can still see all these little white spots. Whereas if I look at the picture through the camera, it really doesn't pick up the white spots as well, so it definitely looks a lot smoother in the camera. So one tip for you guys, if your picture is not looking exactly like the person you're following, you know, don't feel bad, you're not doing anything wrong. It is probably just the fact that the cameras make the pictures look more smooth. Just gonna lightly color all around in here. And I'm gonna leave a highlight on this side of her boob here. But I'm gonna color just slightly in all around the other one. I'm leaving a highlight here as well, leaving that white. And again, another highlight here, there'll be another highlight here, along her arm, and then that's in her hand. That's probably about it for our highlights, I think. I'm going to color in just slightly up from where this curl is though. So our highlights are actually just in this area. So we've got this little bit here that's not fully highlighted and this little bit here that's not fully highlighted. I'm trying to leave a little bit of highlight area on this finger here. Okay, so, what are you, sorry, what did you do? So sweet. Comes in here and says sorry because he spilled his drink. A little poop. Okay. So now that we really only have 2, maybe 3 colors left to put in on her skin for our highlights, I'm starting to realize a few issues with our shadows. For one, I feel like the shadow needs to extend a little bit further, just because too much of her arm is light here. Same with the shadow on this arm, they definitely need to extend because this arm is mostly shadowed. And other than that, I just want to come back in and kind of redefine some of these colors and mostly just keep adding some layers so that eventually our page will get that burnished look. I'm still not pushing very hard though. You be nice to the kitty, kiddo. Those two play so hard together, and then they both get mean with each other because he never leaves the poor cat alone, so the cat attacks him. I'm going to put a little bit of a shadow up to the corner of her lip here too, I think. So I'm fairly surprised. We are actually making pretty good time for the skin. We're close to being done half of it, or technically over half of it, in about 40 minutes, I think. Maybe it'll take a little bit more than 40 minutes just for this part, but still not too bad. I'm gonna add a little bit more purple to her elbow in here. But for the most part, I'm gonna stop touching this because it's getting a little too dark. Hey, out of the art room, please. You're not allowed. Your drink? Well, go drink it then. Oh, well.
Stop it!
Okay, and back in with the nectar again. And we're pretty much just going to do the exact same thing. And here I can tell in my shadowed areas they are starting to really burnish themselves, even though I'm not really changing my pressure at all. We're just getting so much color in there that it's just getting to the point where it's not going to be able to take much more. The best part about doing multiple layers for those who might have like wrist injuries or something like that where they can't really push too hard without it hurting is, for the most part, I've been using the same pressure, and it's just a light to medium pressure, and just building up layers, so it's really not going to hurt your wrist. And most of these shadows are going to be burnished by the time we're done adding all these light layers. So the only time that you're really going to have to push is in the lighter layers. And even then, you probably could just keep layering the lighter layers over and over and over until they burnished too. It'd take you a little bit longer, but if pushing hard really causes you that much pain, then I think that the time spent to really layer those lighter colors would be worth it. So I'm just going to bring this nectar color out a little bit, I think, because I like the way that it's looking. So this is what I'm going to use to fill the shadows a little bit. So I'm going to go over this whole shadow and then bring it out some too, as well as I'm going to fill in the bottom here and then kind of...
Hi.
Hi.
Mommy.
I'll bring the shadow up a little bit from there in kind of a curved line. And I'm just going to keep layering and layering until I'm happy with the colors I'm getting. Okay, I think that's looking better. I'll move up to her hand. And I'm not going to extend the shadow here because we don't really have much room. Maybe on this part here I'll bring it up a little bit. There we go. Here I'm just going to kind of cover this whole area because it's not very big at all. And then again here I'm going to bring it out just slightly, and I'm just going to keep layering and bringing it out little by little just until I'm happy with it. And I'm going to bring it out on both sides, of course, so that way I can see how it's going to look. And actually I think just that little bit right there is perfect. So next I'm just going to go over our shadows again a little bit just to kind of make the colors match and blend. Okay, just a minute, babe. Okay. So I think I'm liking that quite a bit better now. So now I'm going to go back in with the terracotta, but I'm not going to go over everything, I don't think. I think what I'm going to do is I'm just going to lightly place it in the areas where I think would be the darkest. So I think in this corner, just at the side of her cheek here, and as it curves around I think it would lighten up, so I'm just going to fade that out there. Behind her nose, side of her lip, just very slightly, as well as the far side of her shoulder, and down here. Sorry about the sound, my kitty's using his litter box. Oh, and now the sun's moving again. There we go. Okay, on the far side of this shoulder, it'd probably be quite a bit darker. As well as under her ruffles. So I'm going to skip this arm, but I will add some on this side of this arm. And this side of her upper arm as well, I think. Okay. So now after doing that, we'll go back in with our salmon pink. And just again, very lightly go over our shadows. This will probably be the last time we're going to go over the shadows. And then I just want to bring it out just a little bit. Especially the areas where we put that terracotta, because the salmon pink and the terracotta blend really well together. Okay. Just gonna keep going over these shadows here. I don't know why, but now this part is bothering me. So I think I actually am going to go in with terracotta and just put a really light shadow here. Yeah, sweetie.
From Mama.
Farm Grandma's busy today, honey.
Why, Dad?
Well, because she's got stuff to do.
Why? Why not?
Maybe tomorrow, okay?
Okay.
Okay, go
My water.
No, it's mommy's stuff. You don't need to touch. Okay, I'm liking that a little bit better. It just seemed a little off to me. So, let's go back over these spots of the salmon pink now. Just gonna bring the salmon pink out a little bit. Probably just to about here. And I'm gonna bring it out here a little bit too. So now we should be around 40 minutes of coloring, and her skin is almost done. Okay, let me put a little bit more up in here. Okay. So now going back in with our peach beige. This is going to be the last time we go over the shadows. So I'm using just a slightly firmer pressure. I'm not pushing too hard just because we really don't have to be able to burnish the darker colors because they're already so close to being burnished already. I'm not touching her eyelid much at all because for once I think I'm actually going to attempt to do makeup, and I'm hoping that it doesn't bite me in the butt. Because, you know, aside from doing blush, which actually, before we burnish this, let's go in and do our blush. Actually, I'm going to start off with mulberry, I think. So aside from doing blush, I really don't do makeup on the girls. It just makes me too nervous. So I'm just going to very lightly go over the shadowed area with the mulberry, just to kind of make it a little bit pink. And then I'm going to go in with the processed red. And I'm just going to go over that mulberry and just bring it out ever so slightly. I want just the faintest little bit of blush on her face for this picture. Not very much at all. And then lastly for the blush, we'll go in with the hot pink and just kind of just bring it out a touch. You can barely even see it. And I'm going to leave it right about there. So her blush comes out from here and then kind of fades in a little bit. It gets thinner as it gets out, and I'm just going to leave it just like that. So now we'll go back in with our peach beige and go over our shadows here. So I'm just going to bring the peach beige till about here, and then I'm going to stop. I'm going to just fade a little bit in towards her eye. And then we'll move down here and we'll just do the exact same thing. Just a slightly firmer pressure over the shadows and then lighten up when you get to the highlights. Now this still isn't completely burnished. I could probably maybe do another layer or two over the darker areas. But it's to the point where it looks a lot smoother. There's not much white at all showing through. And that's what we want, because we might be going back in with the black grape to get kind of a dramatic looking shadow in there. But we'll have to see how it goes. And so you bring the peach beige all the way down to her cleavage on the right side here. And still leaving these highlight lines on the right side. Again, fading out as we get closer to the highlights. And we'll start on our hand over here. Make sure we're in frame. I'm going to leave just a light highlight here. I'll probably go over that with the peach. And next we're going to go in with our light peach, and I think I'm actually going to start down here this time. So I'm just going to cover this highlight in with the light peach and just kind of lightly blend it in with the rest. And then here, I'm just going to lightly add some light peach into this highlight. But I'm not going to add too much to the center. I'm going to use a super light pressure just to get the color in there, but not have it super noticeable. So here I'm doing the same thing, but I am going to leave a little bit of actual white on the page. And same with here as well. I'm going to start off darker over where the peach beige is, and then I'm just going to lighten up my pressure towards the highlight.
Oh, hi.
Hi, baby.
I'm sleepy.
You can watch the commercials. Are you okay?
Yeah, sure.
Yeah. Okay.
My water.
It's mommy's stuff. No, out of the art room. You know you're not allowed in here. Because you touch everything, right? I love you. Thank you. Yes, it looks good. Still maintaining our white areas. I am going to use the light peach over this line here just to kind of blend it and make it not so harsh. I'm going to make sure that my pencil is fairly clean before going into these lighter areas. So I still have a tiny little bit of white up here. I'm going to go in around here, but I'm going to try to keep as much white here, and then of course in her eyelid as I can, because I want to go back over it with some eyeshadow, but I am just going to very, very lightly fill in the peach there, just to kind of make it look like she does have some skin there, and hopefully the eyeshadow colors will blend into that. Okay, I'm really liking that. So we are pretty much done for the most part. But I'm going to go in and add some cloud blue, just very lightly over the white areas. Super, super lightly to the point where it just looks white with like a blue tinge to it. I'm going to go ahead and do this for all of the areas that we left white highlights. Okay, so after doing that, I'm going to come in with the white, and I'm going to burnish over these highlighted areas. As well as any harsh lines that I want to fade out. I'm going to put some white in the white of her eyes here. I'm not sure if I will add dark grape shadow or not. I kind of like it how it is. But, you know, I'm going to second guess myself, which I don't do very often, and I'm just going to add a little bit here to see how it would look. You know, and I actually don't mind it, so I think I'm going to come in with the black grape and just kind of put in some super, super light shadows. Just using a super light pressure, just going over and over the areas to adding in the shadow that I want. And it's barely noticeable, but it's just noticeable enough to make a difference.
Bad monster.
Bad monster.
Yeah, bad monster.
Yeah, the Wicked Witch.
Yeah, bad person red.
Mm-hmm. Just watching Wizard of Oz. So how I'm going to do this part is I am going to put shadow everywhere, but I'm going to put an even lighter shadow on the parts of her arm that are above the other parts. So it's going to be a lighter shadow here and then a darker shadow here. But I'm still going to go really light and just add the shadow little by little, just so I don't overdo it. So lighter shadow here and darker shadow here. There we go, and that is the main part of her skin finished. I am just going to take my white and just kind of blend in this area of her elbow to lighten it up a little bit, I think. And then I'm just going to lightly go over that white with the chestnut. And I'm happy with that. So that's this side of her skin done. Now we have the other side, which I'm super nervous for, and I think I need to pick out a couple more colors, so... Okay, so I think I want to completely finish off this side of her face, aside from her eye, because I'm not really sure what color we're going to do those yet. So, makeup-wise, I kind of want to have her makeup be the same color as the details of her mask, or face paint, whatever you want to call it. So, I think what I'm going to do is I'm going to start off with the dioxazine purple hue, and I'm going to put that underneath the crease here. And just slightly fade it out. And then I'm going to go in with the dark purple. And just kind of go over the dioxazine purple hue just slightly. And then we'll go over with lavender. That's looking a little bit more blue than I wanted, so let's go over this with the process red. Just lightly, just enough to kind of lighten the colors up. And then we'll go in with our white just at the end here to kind of fade the makeup out. Maybe we'll take a little bit of lavender and just put some above her eyelash lid too. Just barely, and then we'll fade it out with the white again. Okay. So this doesn't look too bad. Okay. It's not as nerve-wracking as I thought. So now that we got that part done, let's get her lips done. So I'm going to start off with Process Red. And I'm just going to just go along the outside of her lips and then fade it inwards. And then I'm going to go on the top of her lip as well, pretty much just like on the line that Hannah's drawn in there to separate her top and bottom lips. So after that, I'm going to go in with the hot pink. And I'm just going to go over the Process Red and bring the hot pink up just slightly. Go over the Process Red here as well. And then lastly we have Light Peach. So I'm just going to go over the top part of the lip with the Light Peach. I'm also going to just fade this bottom shadow here below her lip and under her nose just because it looked a little funny. Okay, so that's this side of her face pretty much completely done, again aside from the eyes. So now, let me just get get rid of some of these cards here so I'm not grabbing the wrong ones. Okay. So I'm going to start on this part of her face now. And I'm going to start in with our darkest color, and that is 30% cool gray. And I'm just going to start putting that in the shadow areas, so pretty much just going to outline her face with it. Now, I don't plan on doing as much blending on this side of her face as I did the other side. So near the edges, I'm using a fairly firm pressure and then fading it out, and I'm going to bring the gray out a ways as I fade it. I'm also going to go slightly over that line that we had for her skin, just to kind of blend them together. And this is going to be fairly light in here, so maybe let's put a shadow in underneath her. Stitching here, putting some shadow underneath her lips. Make sure to fade it out. And I think that's about it for our darkest color. So next I'm going to go in with the 20% cool gray. And I'm not going to go over our darkest colors, but I'm going to go over the 30% gray just slightly. That's about it for the 20%. So next we'll go in with the 10% and pretty much just do the same thing. We'll blend into the 20% and then just bring it out a little bit. I'm also going to blend into this line right about here. Just going to blend that out a little bit. Okay, and lastly we are just going to go in with the white. I'm going to make sure that it is super clean before using it. And I'm going to fade it into the 10% and then just blend it in everywhere else as well. And I'm using really firm pressure to do this. Okay, I'm fairly happy with that. I wish I hadn't have gone so far past the line with this skin color, but I do like the fact that I've got that perfect gradiated effect. It's just not perfectly straight, which I think kind of works for it anyways. So, now that we're done with that, let's start with the rest of her mask. Now, I don't really have any plan for this aside from the colors that I'm going to use. Just going to get my color cards all set up here. Okay, so I think I'm going to start off the large part of her eye, and I'm going to take Deoxazine Purple Hue, and I'm going to run it all around this part of her eye here. I'm using a fairly firm pressure, not enough to completely burnish it, but enough to get a good coverage of the color on the page. And then I'm just going to back and fade it out. Okay, next I'm going to go in with the dark purple, and just going to very lightly go around where we faded out the Dioxazine Purple Hue. And then I'm going to fade this out as well. I'm going to go back to the dioxazine purple here. I'm just going to blend it into the dark purple a little bit more. Yes, baby?
Paper.
I see. Also going to take it and put it under her eyelid crease. Yep. Alright.
Okay.
Okay, leave him alone. Thank you.
Wait,
It's a vacuum cleaner. Get out.
sorry.
You don't have to be sorry. Okay, next we're going to go back to dark purple and I'm just going to blend this in a little bit more. I'm going to try and stay away from the very edges because I want to keep them that bluish purple, but I want the rest to be the reddish purple. I'm going to come underneath her eye with this as well. Okay. This is looking good, I think. So, next, we'll go in with our Dahlia purple, and as you can see, I'm using this color a lot lighter. I am going to go over the dark purple with it with a little bit of a firmer pressure. After that, we're going to come in with the lavender. And I'm just going to lightly go over everything with the lavender. I'm going to create a fairly firm line here because that's where I want her eye to stop. Whereas here, I am actually going to fade the lavender just slightly into the eye. It's not going to have such a harsh line. So next, because this is a little bit too bluish purple for what I want, but they're the colors that I want, I'm going to go in with the processed red and just give a light coat to everything. Now, I'm not sure if I want to keep layering this to get a really dark color or if I want to go over it with white to kind of make it look pastel. Let's go over just a little spot here maybe and see what it would look like. I think I like that. So let's go over it with the white to be our burnisher. I'm not going to burnish it completely because I don't want it to be too white. I'm also going to start in the darker areas using circular motions, and I'm going to work my way into the lighter areas. just going to lightly keep going over any areas that still have a little too much white, just to kind of blend the colors together a little better. I am going to clean off my white pencil. And then I am going to start in the white of her eye and blend outwards. And I'm just going to keep doing that. Just in this little area here, because I don't want the purple to come in too far from the eye, but I want it to blend into the eye. Hi, baby.
Are you done?
Almost done, yeah. And I'm also going to do the same thing here. I'm just going to blend on this line a little bit more.
Okay.
Now, I don't want to blend this part. I want to leave this as a harsh line. I personally just like the way that that looks, and of course you can do whichever way you'd like. What's up, kiddo?
Not working.
TV's not working?
No.
Okay, you give me a minute. I'll come change your movie, okay?
Okay.
So now we're going to pretty much use the same colors throughout. I'm a little uncertain on if I want to leave some white details in here as well or not. But we'll just have to play around and see. So I think I'm going to start with the dark purple. And I'm going to go around all these little frilly things here. And I'm going to start off pressing really dark around this circle here, and then fade it out. I think what I'm going to do here is I'm going to put in the lavender. And I'm going to use a fairly firm pressure to blend the lavender and the purple together. But I'm not going to completely burnish it because I want to go back in and add a little bit more purple. Just kind of define the darker line, which will make our lighter color pop out a little bit more. Okay, happy with that. So we'll go back in with our dark purple. And just kind of go around the circle again just to darken up that bottom line. And again, just fade it out slightly. That just makes the lavender pop a little bit more. And I think we're gonna go in here with the dark purple too. All these little frill areas. I'm just going to burnish with the purple.
Back itchy.
Your back's itchy. Would you like me to scratch it for you?
Mm-hmm. For
Really?
Yeah.
Is that better?
Mm.
Okay. We'll take it out.
Like that.
Yeah, it's a picture.
Oh, okay.
Leave the kitty alone, please.
Okay.
Thank you, baby. So I'm still uncertain about her eyes. I was thinking maybe blue because these roses, when we go and do those, I'm going to insert a picture that Hannah shared of a trading card that she has done recently, and it's got these beautiful blackish blue roses, and I kind of want to try and recreate them on the roses on this page. Maybe add a little bit of purple shading to them as well, so they'd be black, blue, and purple. So I was thinking maybe having her eyes purple, but I'm not 100% sure. So I like this, but I feel like it's a little bit too dark, so I don't want to lighten it up too much, so I'm just going to go over all these little things with the lavender, just to kind of turn it a little bit pastel so it doesn't look so harsh. That looks a little bit better. So now let's start let's go in with the dioxazine purple hue here on these little hearts, I think. And I think I'm kind of going to do the same thing that I did with the circle around her eye. I'm just going to kind of feed these hearts into lighter areas. Your white phone should be on. It's on the fireplace, isn't it? Okay, here I'm going to put the dioxazine purple hue all along the top. And fade it out. Good job, baby. Same with here. Here I'm going to put it along this side. And fade it out as well as... Is it dead? Oh, your phone's gonna die. Let's see. It's at, yeah, 2%. Can I keep it for now? I'll put it on the charger.
Yeah,
Okay.
sure.
Okay, thank you. Okay, I'm also gonna put a little bit of the dioxazine purple down here, and a little bit here, here, and here. For now, we'll color those in and see how it looks. So we're going to go in with our dark purple now. And I'm just going to put it all around where we put the dioxazine purple. Everywhere we put the dioxazine purple, this dark purple is going to go over it and fade out. And then I'll go in with the Dahlia purple. And just very lightly fade out in the areas that we can. In these super small areas, I'm not even going to bother. We'll go in with the lavender. using a somewhat firm pressure, but not burnishing all the way. Okay, then with the process red, we're going to kind of go over everything here. Just very lightly, just to turn the colors to a little bit more of a red tone. And I really want that blue to stand out too, so we're going to go back in with the dioxazine purple here. And then go in with our white and blend everything together. You just keep changing your mind, don't you?
Yeah.
Are you sure that's what you want to do?
Yeah.
Okay.
Thank you.
You're welcome, baby.
I all want poo poo.
Oh, I see. Okay, I'm back. And let's see, looking at this, I just want to go back in over the white with some process red, especially over the lavender areas. I feel like that lavender just makes it look a little too blue. We'll play after I'm done, okay? Okay, I'm a little bit happier with that. I think I'm gonna leave these bits lavender, but I am gonna go over the dark purple a little bit with the process red. Okay. Next, I'm gonna go in with the Dahlia purple and color these little bits. Also these triangles, I think, both down here and up here. I'm going to use the dioxazine purple hue for, I think, these little tear shapes and just random little, pretty much anything but the circles. It's a half circle, so it doesn't count. Okay, and then finally with the dark purple, I'm just going to go over all of these little dots. And with that, I think we're done. I'm going to think on the eye color a little bit. If you guys have any suggestions for the eye color, please do feel free to let me know. For the most part, we're going to be sticking within this color combination. I apologize if you can hear that. My neighbor is cutting down my other neighbor's tree. Hopefully he's supposed to be. It's a good thing we're pretty much done anyways, but for the most part we're going to be sticking within these colors, and purple is going to be the main color in this image, I think, with just slight little bits of blue, maybe just a little bit of green. Like in this bowl I would probably do the grapes green instead of purple. You know, she might actually look nice with green eyes too. What do you guys think? Green eyes or darker blue eyes? We might have to do the eyes in one of the final touches because I'm so indecisive about it. But anyways, guys, that's it for this part of the color along, and I hope you guys enjoyed. Again, don't forget to use the hashtag if you are following along and want to post progress pictures. I would love to see them. And until next time, guys, take care.